Alright, last time I'm doing this video, I have to do this again. I'm just going to give this bike away for free. I'm just kidding, I can't do that, it doesn't belong to me. Anyway, but I did build it. It's just, let's try this again. Anyway, this is a 600 Shadow VLX, and I'm making these videos to show people that, you know, you can get away with having a nicer looking tank. Now on the 600s, you can keep the stock tank, and it doesn't look too bad. You know, the 750s looks terrible. Now if you have a friend who has a 750, send them the link on my other video on this particular bike on how to arrange this tank on this bike. But as far as this bike, using this particular tank's got some awesome features like a sweet petcock, an external gas gauge. It just takes a real nice sleek look on this bike, even more so than the stock tanks. Okay, so anyway guys, I don't work for Pandemonium. I got a link in the description of the tank that'll work for this bike. I don't work for them, I'm not affiliated with them, I'm not trying to sell you tanks. I'm just trying to give you a good option to get a nicer looking tank, and it's hardcore vintage. It just looks great for this particular bike. Okay, so anyway, I'm just gonna try to keep this 101 short and sweet and simple as I can. If you guys got mechanical experience, you know, just fast forward through until you find what you need. Guys who don't, let's get to it. So anyway, this particular tank right here, okay, you're gonna notice some tabs, okay, that come out of the tank, some saddle tabs, okay. And anybody who's ever taken this bike apart knows that there's two bars that come up from here all the way to the top and join up at the head tube, okay. And the stock tanks are a nightmare to work with. The petcock, it's just, anybody who's taken it apart knows what a pain in the butt it is. So fellas, if you've done it before, girls, if you've done it before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So anyway, the nice thing about this option is 2 bolts and I can literally take this tank off. Okay, so let me just show you real quick. Alright, so when you take the stock tank off, you're going to notice the tab right here that connects these 2 bars together. Okay, I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to zoom back in for you. Okay, there's already a hole right there. So guys, one of my rules that I use on building bikes is don't fight the bike. You know, there's no reason to create more workload than there has to be, right? So just use the holes that are already there. Try to utilize everything you can. You know, on these bikes, you know, there's not a lot of welding to these bikes, guys. Doesn't mean that they're not safe and stable. I mean, trust me, they're stable. It's just I don't know, try to do things a little bit easier and try to keep the workload down. So anyway, you're gonna notice that there's a hole already here. Okay, you're gonna take a dowel, try to go something a little bit bigger than a quarter. Okay, this is a quarter. We used one on another bike, a quarter, and it wound up breaking. So go a little bit bigger than that. This one hasn't broken yet, so this might be a little tougher piece. I don't know. Anyway, you're gonna take a dowel. You're gonna take a nut on the bottom. This is where it kind of becomes a pain in the butt. You're gonna have to thread it through all these wires. You just take your time. You know, just be patient. You're gonna work it up through that hole. Careful you don't mar those threads on top. You do that, you're not gonna be able to get the nuts on. You're gonna have to start all over. Okay, or retap it. So anyway, you're going to thread that dowel all the way to the top. You're going to put another nut. Guys, I would preferably say don't use something with nylon because you'll be here all day screwing that down. Just use something that's just bare bones thread, okay? Use some thread lock. Always thread lock on your bikes, okay? If you don't thread lock, something might fall off and you might go with it. All right, so just thread lock your stuff. Get this nut, work it all the way down, and then choose lock washer. That way it pinches against the plate, okay? And next thing you know, you got a dowel that's nice and solid. Okay, it's not going anywhere. Okay, after you do that, take another nut and washer and thread it down just enough to where you can get the tank on, let it sit. And then what you need to do next is you need to drill these tabs on the tank. Now guys, I'm going to be really adamant about this. Be careful where you drill it. You drill it too much to the left or right, you're going to have a lopsided tank. You drill it too much to the front, you jeopardize the integrity of it. You could crack it. Just centralize it, okay? Use a punch. If you don't know what a punch is, it's something you can tap with a hammer with a solid steel point that'll give you a starting point for a drill. Just go Google it, okay? And basically what you want to do is set that tank on. After you drill it, just take another nut, preferably something with nylon in it, I think we just use thread lock on this one for whatever reasons, okay? And that way it gives you a nice solid base, okay? And another thing you're gonna wanna do too is once you get this tank set down and stabilized like this, just use some gaffer's tape or something and lay it on top of the frame. You don't want metal against metal sit there and vibrate, you know. I doubt it would wear a hole, but just, you know, kind of make the tank a little bit more at ease by doing something like that, if that makes sense. So the next side, real quick, this should have wound up being a solid piece, but for whatever reason we built the seat first and then put the tank on later. I guess we could have made another entire solid piece of steel, but we just didn't. So anyway, it is what it is. So basically, guys, when this tank is full and when gravity goes to work, it's only going to push against the frame, okay? And this is your anchor point right here, okay? And you see how it sits on that piece of steel? If it weren't for this other anchor point, that piece of steel would want to teeter-totter up like that, okay? You got to have a solid base for this to sit. So same thing, guys. You take a dowel with a nut on the end and you thread it up underneath through there. If this piece of steel wasn't here, you would see a hole directly down in there, okay? You're gonna have to drill it for a bigger dowel or whatever you're using, okay? You take another nut and you screw it all the way down to the base of that inside where you can't see, so that way it stays rigid just like the front, okay? Same thing up top, okay? Underneath this plate of steel there's another nut and this nut on top to pinch this piece of steel together. You can see it's a nice solid base, all right? And then when you get up here, pretty self-explanatory. You just take a bolt or another dowel, okay? Drill your hole. I put a piece of vinyl tubing over this so it looks a lot nicer than just a bolt sitting right there. And you drill your tab, put another nut on top, okay? Pretty easy. It does take a little bit of time, you know, but this tank is a great option to go with. And like I was saying, guys, I don't work for this company. I'm not trying to sell tanks. It's just it's a great route to go. There are other people who make custom tanks for these bikes. They are pricey. I know TJ Brutal Custom does. He makes some pretty sweet stuff. I've actually gotten some stuff from him in the past, you know, and I'm just saying you can get this tank for a fraction of the price, and just with a little bit of time and patience, you know, you can get the tank and the look that you want. That's pretty much all there is to it. So anyway, like I said, there's a link in the bottom of the tank that this particular bike will take. This doesn't mean you have to use these ideas, guys. If you want to put that tank on there for whatever reason on this bike, go for it, you know. If this anyway sparks some creativity or some juices in your head how to make one or another work, or even if it's not any one of these tanks, go for it. I'm just showing you that this can be done. You can get the tank that you want on the bike that you're riding, you know, and there's no reason why you can't do it in a relatively easy manner. So anyway, if you like this video, like it. Definitely share it with friends who got 600s, you know. I kind of noticed this was kind of something that not a lot of people, especially the 750s, you know, there's not a lot of bikes that got this style of tank on them. So anyway, share the links, guys. Share them, share them, share them. You know, don't worry about subscribing. I'm not trying to get rich or anything. You know, if you want to see the video again, just come back. I'm not going anywhere. So anyway, I appreciate your guys' time wanting to watch these videos. Make sure you comment, ask thorough questions, so if I answer them, you know, everybody else will be able to get the answer they're looking for too. Anyway, I appreciate you guys watching, and yeah, have a good day. See you.